Welcome again to, what is it, May, I was gonna say April again. May 24th meeting of the Town Cemetery Town Cemetery Committee. It's 6 o'clock, and, 5 o'clock, I'm done. It's 5 o'clock, and
Meeting
it was
adjourned.
a long night last night. So, I'm done.
I think I'll take over then. All right, everybody had a chance to read the minutes from last month?
That's what I'm doing at the present time.
I actually read them
E-reader.
online, so.
Well, while you're reading, I'm gonna jump in anyway.
Jump.
All right, so old business, flags, flag holder purchases. So we placed a big order last month, and after last meeting, we stopped over and Jen had flags and holders, and then there was another box that came like a week later or something, so. That was all divvied up. We still have extra flags, so I think we should be good for more next year. Have a good supply for next year to start out with.
Okay. Well, the biggest thing is get through the summer. You know how that, some of it rips through. Matter of fact, Steve and I went over to Maple Grove after you guys got done, found some that was.
Already torn off the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
The wind, I'm sure,
So-
was,
so,
and that's with you putting the extra staple in, right?
Yeah, so, I did place an order with Jen on Friday or Monday, Friday last week, Monday this week, for more, like 10 more flag holders, because there's a sale on them, and more for our
Yeah.
buck there.
Not to mention the fact that there should be a memo going out from the town, basically doing stop spending, unless it's absolutely necessary.
it's out.
Yeah, actually, Lois sent that out, so yeah, this coming week is the last week, so before June 1st, if we can spend some money that we have, not all of it,
That will roll over to next year.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
So
but
that's-
if
that's
we
the
need
benefit.
anything now that we can't be able to get in June, like I gotta get gas for the lawnmower and stuff,
Yeah.
so if there's
We have
something,
like 3 days to do it now.
yeah, so,
Well, the only problem with buying gas is, you kind of want to buy it and use it.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy it, like I buy, I usually have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 gallons worth of gas sitting in my garage, okay? And, you buy it in the fall, in case you need it for the generator, or you need it for this, or you need it for that. Gas only has a shelf life, a very limited
Yes,
shelf life.
With that ethanol, yes.
Unfortunately, gasoline does not last the way it used to, as far as the strength and whatnot. But anyway,
so if there's any purchases, like for the gasoline, for the town has an account with Boonies, so in case you use any,
Yeah, they said the only thing they're doing is necessary spending
Correct.
for, in between June and July. So if it's something you can hang on to, great. If it's not, you'd have to, well, it has to go before the selectmen again.
guess what? We need gas.
Well,
I
I argued
can't
that
gas,
point
I-
last year.
last year I had to
Yeah.
get gas in
Yeah,
June, so.
we argued that point last year because my problem is that this time of year is when we do what we have to do. And sometimes we need supplies. So,
Moving on.
Moving on, all right, I did check out the town website, I know it's gonna get better.
Got a picture up?
You did? Okay, I haven't checked it recently then,
Cool.
I guess you
I haven't got
haven't.
that far yet. Yeah, great.
so.
A picture up, but that's the only picture up because somebody owes me some pictures.
I wouldn't know who that would be. I'll check in on that. All right, I'll have to give you like a big old disc because I got hundreds and hundreds or whatever, so.
Thumb drive.
Disc.
He's trying to make himself a memo so he thinks he can remember.
Nope.
Yeah, I can't talk and write at the same time.
Why not?
Multitasking.
All right, so I will hook you up. All right, Newfield murders, it's sort of not part of us, but we've been talking about it for the last few months. So, all of us were here, right? We're there?
Every one of us went.
All right, it was a
It was fun.
very good little turnout. I haven't seen it on the video.
No, I was going to ask Jennifer tonight, but she had to leave early, so
Okay,
I will have
so,
the opportunity.
It was about a half an hour long. CJ Pike, who wrote the article, and then Janet Caldwell, her friend up in Newfield, they did the presentation. A lot more details than there were in the article, and she did ask for a blessing to get into the gory details, in case
Yes.
anybody was
Yeah.
squeamish, and I think we got some gory details.
No worse than anything we see in modern
No.
murders.
True, but, you know, you
I'm
don't,
glad that she asked, because some people just don't want to hear the rest of the
But
story.
I would just like to see it, you know,
Sicko.
you know,
I know what you mean.
sicko. Ah.
oh, yeah, you could watch
No, I would
NCIS and
just-
see the.
Yeah, I'd just like to see, you know, I mean, I know we videotaped it and whatnot, I want to see it, you know, put up.
Me too.
You know,
That's like,
that hasn't hit it yet.
the Watson Cemetery hasn't hit yet
Watson
either.
Cemetery hasn't hit
I've
yet.
not seen it.
It's not in the rotation
No.
for viewing, so.
No, those are the two.
Does
She
one
was gonna-
exist?
I was gonna, like I said, I was gonna get Jen tonight, but I didn't know she had to leave.
Yeah,
early.
she filmed part of it last year.
So, you know, I mean, you know, things that are
Of
taped
importance.
and, you know, what we, you know,
What we
consider
are allowed to
be-
tape and-
Considered to be,
yeah.
of interest and importance to the community, you know, I'd like to see them in the rotation so that people can actually watch them.
We actually had a
You know?
person last night at one of them, at the meeting we had, and actually told us what PEG stood for, and they found it very interesting, which is a public, you know, your public education.
Public access television.
That's exactly, that's what that piece stands for, and that's technically what what MetroCast was meant to do when they first started. It was be part of that, anything that had to do with government, public, and education.
Yeah.
So
Get me the
they're-
links when they're available and we can post them on the
The
website.
problem is that also I gotta, there's only what, two, I think, rolling the camera right now, so we kinda work with their schedule too, so I'm hoping that it will get better. But anyway,
But that was discussed.
yes.
Yeah.
Last night.
I hope she writes a book about it. I mean, I don't, you know.
Yeah, even if it's a short novel.
Yeah. I did, she asked how she did afterwards, because she's never done a public presentation like that before. And I said she did pretty well. And I did mention, some people had asked for a Q&A afterwards, and she's like, yeah, I saw some people lingering around afterwards, and I should have done that.
That's what Virginia asked. She
Okay.
said she wished she.
Yeah,
could have
yeah,
a Q&A. And not only that, if she'd known it was gonna be so, she was gonna talk so low, she'd actually try to figure out a way to get a mic there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we've addressed some of those issues in our
Yeah.
historical society meeting about maybe putting a PA system or putting them up on even just a platform so that they're up over or facing away from the road. We had the windows open.
Oh, yeah.
Steve knows this. And the sounds of the traffic sometimes would block out what she was saying.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
since
we
fixed
had
the
it.
window.
yeah.
I can't say it's Steve-proof, but we have fixed the window.
And then one other comment, and when we had the 47 fire event, we had a projector and a screen. We don't have one, the guy had brought his,
Yeah.
and that would've been really good, because, you know, I was in the back, I didn't see what she was holding up as far as newspapers.
But you know, I noticed that we have one back here, and this is one that you guys might think about too. It goes to the ceiling, you can actually pull down. It's food for thought.
It's motorized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, however it works.
You know, you don't, well, I'm telling you, that's where it is.
Yeah,
okay?
that's our
And
screen.
you have to plug something in, and that brings the screen down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, when you're done, you have to have that same item plugged in so that you put the screen up. It's not something you pull it down and let it
Not
fly
like it used
up.
to be when we were in
No,
school.
it's not
Shade.
like, it's not like a shade, sorry. So,
One thing afterwards, I know of this archive, newspaper archive website, and, because she said, like, her copies, I looked at them afterwards, and her copies of the Globe and the Herald or whatever were photocopied and just old, and you couldn't read a lot of it. I found, like, a whole bunch of Boston Globe articles from June 1900, and they were crystal clear. I didn't see all the little drawings like they had. That was probably the Herald. But I wasn't able to save or print them off, because you gotta pay, and they,
Permission,
yeah, so. But it's, if you got some time, it's really neat to look into some more of the details. It just,
I'm surprised they let you go back that far without having.
oh, they got stuff going, I guess, back to the 1700s.
Wow.
This newspaperarchives.com or something like that. So, moving on, ground cover. Have you,
Received it yet? No.
really?
Really?
I sent them a nasty gram twice.
I bet.
And finally got back, they finally got back to me yesterday that It is in their shipping department, and it will be ready to ship. I will be getting an email as soon as they ship it.
I'm sure it's a
So-
little busy time too, so, but it's been a month.
Yes, but an immediate response, especially considering on the website, it says they will contact you the next business day after your inquiry, and I contacted them on Friday and didn't hear anything back from them, so I recontacted them on Tuesday and finally, somebody emailed me back yesterday. So,
No, we'll just know
We'll
that
see what the
as
co-
it comes along.
we'll see what the quality of the plants is at that point, and that
How long
will.
have they been in, how long
I mean,
have
if
they
they're
been in
absolutely
pack-
drop dead gorgeous, then maybe we'll reconsider their slow
process?
process, but there are a bunch of other
Problem is-
greenhouses around that we can go to, and as I mentioned last month, the Farm Field greenhouse in Lebanon is willing to work with us. If we give him advance notice, he can
Yeah, they're actually really nice. over
Yeah.
there, too.
You can give us live plants that haven't been sent through the U.S. Postal Service.
Well, that's what I was thinking. By the time it gets to you, how long was it in the shipping area, and how long does it take to get to you, and what kind of condition the condition?
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So,
All right. Do you know anything about the stump grinder and trailer that Jay is sort of working on?
I don't know anything about the stump grinder. We spoke with the treasurer of our reenactors group, and he is still trying to figure out a value of the trailer.
Okay, on that trailer, I talked to Jennifer about this after our meeting. She suggests that you guys personally keep it, fix it, do what you have to do, because if when you register it, if you want any of us to borrow it, it's different because we're borrowing it because you say it's all right. If you fix it, do it, and the town has it, we have to go through quite a bit to get to it, the liability factor and all kinds of other stuff, so
Well,
this is something to think about.
if it's purchased, as a piece of town equipment, there are, guidelines as to,
Right,
I will let
who,
Jay
what,
know.
when, where.
exactly.
Where it's being stored, what are you using it for, la-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da.
There he is,
Yeah,
so we can tell
I
him,
opened the door, so I just figured.
"Geez," and he's gonna take my car out with my truck.
I just
How do you
figured
tell
I'd
the insurance
let you know.
company that?
Yeah.
My truck hit
actually-
my car.
I actually had that issue, and we paid the deductible on mine, and yeah, it worked out well. It was like my wife hit my car. And
I don't wanna know.
yeah, don't try it.
I don't wanna experience that.
Oh, we'll come
But I
back.
heard crunches.
All right, we can go back to
Yeah,
that
he
one.
probably stopped quick.
Flagging and holders, update. I just put out the last flag
Anyway, and
on my way in.
The last flag that you had, or the
No, the
last
last
that
flag
you
that
know
needs-
of that
we
needed to be flagged?
Yes, actually, second to last. Because I heard from Wes about where the Perkins Cemetery is off
oh,
of
yes,
Acton Ridge,
Catherine.
and he gave me,
We haven't been able
Yes.
to
The
locate.
one in the middle of the woods that you haven't been able
Yeah,
to
and I
locate?
I said it was gonna be hard to find. He's.
yeah, so he gave me some directions, and I was looking at the Google Maps and the 1872 map, and I think I know roughly where it is. And
Roughly is better than what we didn't have.
yeah, so we were in the woods.
Yeah.
We would have found it if we,
Had that
Kept
much more
going,
daylight.
sort of like Stagecoach Road. If we had just kept going another 50 feet, we probably would
yeah.
have found the other
So, I mean,
foundation.
that's a trek for another day, but I think
We'll have put
where
it-
the basically Acton Ridge Road, so instead of going straight into Newfield like it does now, it sort of bowed down and came back up.
Yeah,
So that little, so it's sort of like Town Farm Road now,
yeah.
where Milton Mills sort of does that little U, Acton Ridge Road did a little V or whatever then, and they just straightened it out this time. So that little V is where,
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been so far into the woods if they hadn't corrected the route.
so I think it's in that little triangle. So, more to follow on that.
You
Back
can
to you.
actually do that in the fall if you want to, where the bugs and the creatures won't be so bad, but hopefully in the daylight it'll be better.
Yeah,
Well, definitely daylight, because when you're out there, at dusk or slightly beyond dusk, a period,
We had a
it
good
makes it a
time.
bit, we don't want to hear about your good
Pretty
time.
good time. We're out
It's
there
just
looking for
easier,
it. Got
you know.
Richard.
I mean, obviously,
Sure.
it's easier to see things, you know, when there's daylight.
Hmm.
So, that being said, moving on.
Back to the stump grinder and trailer, we got a little bit of info on the trailer from Tracy that still need a value.
Relay.
I told them that Rick was still looking for a value of the trailer.
Yeah.
And I had no clue about the status of the stump grinder.
Yeah, I've been looking to try to find something locally. I found stuff a couple states away, but I'm trying to get something a little bit closer where I can go look at it. But I am going to get a stump grinder.
And
Portable.
also to reval on the trailer, I was talking to Jen afterwards. She told me the best thing to do is to have you, when you build it, to keep it as your personal property
Yep.
versus the town, because there's a lot of liability and stuff.
Yep, no, that's fine with me. Just I want a storage place for us to
Oh,
put
we
our
can
stuff
figure
in.
out storage, even if it's at my
Yeah.
house, I could store it. It's not a big deal.
Yep, but we'll do something. Okay.
I know we all busted butt to get all the flags out this month, dealing with heat and weather and bugs and all that kind of stuff. So good job, everybody. I know you guys probably just got sick of Maple Grove walking.
The
It's
mosquito,
better to do one cemetery than 50 little cemeteries.
Yeah.
it was the black flies that were.
Yeah, the benefit for us is that Steve and I could split up kind of those outer cemeteries, so he hit the ones at the south, I hit the ones in the north, and the only ones that I couldn't find or didn't get to was the last one he just went to, and the one we just got the phone call, well, he just got message back on, so we did fairly well, I think, considering.
Considering the quantity and that he keeps finding more.
Yeah, we got, well, he hasn't told you, we got 4 more out there now.
There's only 2 more, the last email.
We've increased, we've increased.
Steve's been looking harder.
I
It
didn't
increased.
intend to look for more, but they just sort of were on the map. So actually, let's just jump down to that right now. So yeah, I was looking, so Lois and I went to the town farm the other day, trying to find the rumored cemeteries. So I was looking on the tax map that has, all these lines everywhere, and I saw 2 little squares, not near town farm. And on the maps, those maps, it's like, that's a cemetery. You know what it is, because there's no property, 50 foot by 50 foot in this town. So I zoomed it in, and if they're on the map, they have a label as such or such cemetery. So that's how I found those other 2, and I'm like, I looked at my books, I looked on Find a Grave, I do not see anything about them. So, the one, and I had heard a rumor on Garvin Road, further on down, towards, Will's Horn Pond or whatever it is.
It's farther down, I think, towards Young's Ridge and all that.
Okay, so I'd heard there was a cemetery out that way, but I never knew anything about it. So that Abbott one, that's supposed to be on this guy's property, I think that's it, because it doesn't look like it would be new.
Oh, I forget about the other one over on, off in Fox's Ridge too. Where the Hiltons are, out in that area.
Yeah,
Another one
yeah,
out there too.
yeah.
And the gentleman knows kind of where that one is, so that's another one of those days of out in the woods, here my life is.
Yeah, so we ain't done yet.
No. I knew we wouldn't be, I just had that feeling.
So Mocha meeting, did anybody go to the meeting on Saturday at in Waterboro? Yeah, you guys, yeah, did not. I didn't, I was working,
Getting a
so.
picture taken.
Unfortunately.
I saw a picture on Facebook, but I don't know how it went. I'm sure it went really well. But then Tracy found the Master Musical Adult Ed is giving a class for cleaning headstones. It's actually Angela, who's the vice president of MOCA from Waterboro, is giving that class. I know there's 4 of us signed up. Is it us 3 and one of you guys?
Weren't me.
All right. So there's 4 people signed up.
If I make it, it would be to the class. I can't
That's-
make it to the after fact
Neither can
because
we.
I have, I have a meeting to go to.
Yeah, so that's, the same thing with us. We can go to the class, we just can't go to the hands-on, but.
I haven't, I talked to her, she just told me if I was interested, I could go sign up or whatever, but I haven't got that far,
Okay.
and it was a Monday. So
Yeah,
about
Mon-
the only day
Monday
of the week
evening.
that I don't have anything on the agenda, so it's kind of hard.
I feel your pain.
Yeah,
What Mocha uses is called D2. It's not a concentrate like Wit and Forget. You spray it on there and you can actually scrub on the stone.
Yes.
And you wet it down with water and you rinse it off with water. It's very labor intensive. It takes a while. But you don't have to wait for results.
Right.
The thing is, I know Ron doesn't like it because he just doesn't like it. But one thing I guess it does, it
His
kills the
age,
grass.
he's,
Yeah,
you know,
you know, if you're 80-something, you
Well,
can,
that said, he's done a lot of the work. Back years ago, back 10 years ago, back when we were doing conservation and Ron came before us to talk about cemeteries, that was one of the things he was very adamant about. When you do something, you don't want something that's gonna kill something else around it because you're gonna have to replace that too. Basically, you wanna work with what is more natural and you can take care of versus something that's gonna kill something
And I would
around
have
it.
thought this would be more natural if it takes forever and doesn't like,
Yeah, but-
it's not caustic that it just takes it off in a second.
So,
But it's long-term killing the grass, so. I mean,
exactly, so.
this is,
I don't know.
D2 is what Arlington National Cemetery uses.
Yes.
But they also have the money to replace.
And what else about D2? Yeah, so I mean, and the stone has to be pretty solid, pretty stable. I mean, some of the stuff around here you can't,
Not
That's what I noticed, the deterioration of a lot of the
Oh,
stones.
yeah.
Some
so,
of them are just turning to chalk
Dust.
dust.
How-
Yeah.
Chalk dust.
We had several in, like I said, in Maple Grove that have
Yeah,
done
that's
that,
what
and
we
we
were
actually
looking at.
turned around and put a hardest, we couldn't do the uprights like everybody want, because that's expensive. We ended up doing the flat ground ones. I don't know if you saw Marsha's over there, but we ended up doing like a flat one. We took all the information off on that and did just one that was sat before it. Left the original stone in, because eventually it will deteriorate on its own. But that's what we kind of been doing, and that particular one alone cost me about $300 back when we did it. But I knew the guy that helped me, so he did it reasonably. So just basically for letters and a piece that he had there, and then he went and did it. It's got more costly now because because of cremations being more popular versus full burials. They've gotten more popular because now they work primarily on the stones themselves, because with a cremation, you know, all it takes is just a little box here in the ground. With a full burial, it's different. They usually want a perfect, beautiful stone. He told me he has no time at all because of the cremations. He's constantly working with cremation stones. That's why 2 years ago, Maple Grove had to start looking for somebody who would help repair, and we still have not found anybody who's willing to come out in the field that we can afford. Because we're way out, and people just don't do that anymore, kind of. I've gone to a couple of different places, just like here in town, back if we all came on. I tried for months to get somebody to just, we picked as many cemeteries as we could in one area, have one person come out, give us a or, whatever they had to do to a referral thing. I can't even get one person to come out, never mind the town wants 3. And I explained to them, I said,
Oh,
how am I
3
gonna
estimates?
get, yeah, how am I gonna get, I can't get 1, how am I gonna get 3? So this has kind of been a battle
Hope
too.
for is that no vandalizing happens, like what,
In Lebanon?
yeah.
Yeah.
What would that do to the budget, you know?
Well, that's it. It will really throw it off. I feel bad that I know where that cemetery is located. I really feel bad. Unfortunate. We got classes, town farm roads, volunteers.
real quick on the town farm, Lois and I found the town farm foundation.
Which is huge.
It was humongous. It looked like a barn size, but there was no other foundations around, so it must have been a massive farmhouse. There's a lot of trails around there.
Back out there, to be honest, when was it probably more than just us, and a little bit more time.
Yeah. And her cousin thinks,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him. I'll see him
know
next week.
where the cemeteries are.
So
But
there's
we-
2 that you think are
Last
on that
time when
road.
I was a child, talking buku years ago, and my memory is, as a child, my aunt used to take us out there to do cemetery flagging. I don't remember it being as far out as we were, but like back then, everything is different as a child. You walk and you don't think about, oh, we're here, and then we go away. I remember it being on both sides. That's all I remember. Her going
Across
to
from
one-
each other, you mean?
Yeah, kind
Oh.
of diagonally
Okay,
across from
like
each other.
the
Like
one
she'd
up
do
the
one
street.
side and one the other. But whether it was always across from each other or because the road went up the middle, I don't know. Or if there was just so big of a farm that they had.
But you flagged, so there's veterans there, but we don't know
Always
where it
check-
is, so if there were ever
She always checked it out.
find a stick with
We-
like a
we-
little
all we
rag
could- we
hanging from
might-
it.
all we might find is field stones for all I know. And that's a dangerous.
Yeah, because do you remember which stones got the flags?
That's it. Well, not only that, if it's a field stone, how do we recognize whoever is out there? How do we know the name? How do
Right.
we know-
Unless
And-
there's still a holder there.
Yeah,
And the map, go back to 1856, has it as town farm, so it wasn't somebody's property.
Right, yes, I
At
did
least
see
as
that
of
on
18.
both of those maps.
Yeah. I'd like to get a hold of Emily over at the deeds office, or if someone ever gets a day off, can go over there and start searching through the records or whatever you gotta do to see where the property lines are, because that was one thing too, is there's other foundations like closer to Sanborn Road, but it's like, well, where was the property? Was it on the property? Was it not on the property? So, and old deed records, old deeds might have information about a cemetery, so.
How far down did you go? Did you do the whole length of it, or?
No, we got up to where I cross-referenced where I thought the GPS location was, and it was right on.
yeah, it was within feet of that.
Yeah, so, we
The
didn't,
foundation, you mean?
Yeah.
yeah, so we didn't go further past.
We went a little further up, a little further out towards the opposite side. And then,
But you guys primarily went in off from Sanborn Road,
Yep.
yes, we parked at a
Not-
friend's house,
not,
not on my
Milton
end.
Mills
you didn't
Road.
go in on the Milton Mills side, so.
Where does that come out on Milton Mills Road, where we were at
we
the?
know where-
Gilman Cemetery.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Steve, I just thought of it, did you have to get to in the sand pit, did you have to go up there to get the flags, those veterans? Up in Sanborn Road?
Oh, yeah,
Did you?
Gorsham?
Gershwin's?
Gorshin,
Mm.
yeah, I
Okay.
went there.
I just happened to think of that when you said it.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem, sorry. But yeah, no, we went in off on that road, and it actually, once you get out there, it's climbing up over the hill, and I told him I'd be slow, and it was. And I'm coming back
Yeah, there was only one big hill, and that was at the,
at the beginning,
Well, Fox's Ridge is just one big hill, too.
so, yeah. Sure is. Right on a bike,
I have.
and it sucks hitting the door on them.
volunteers. Any new volunteers yet?
I have not heard of any yet. Did anybody come back out from last year?
I know, I haven't talked to Carrie in a while, but she said, the last time I talked to her, she and her family were still wanting to do Acton Corner and Sanborn.
Well, now that we have those two Facebook pages, we can always send out a blast to both of them.
Yeah, yeah. And
I
then,
assume those are new, because I never heard of them before.
yeah, I think the Shapley one is brand new.
Yes.
What's Up in Acton's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So this sort of piggybacks into the cleanup on new business. My boss, last week, we had a big old company meeting, and earlier in the day, he had asked me about if I still volunteered doing cemeteries. So he brought it up at the meeting, hey, let's have a big old company gathering and clean up a cemetery. I'm like, I will use you guys.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so the date is June 16th. I know it's your town meeting, so,
Yeah, we're already SOL.
yeah, well.
What time to what time?
9 to 12.
yeah,
I have
yeah.
still, I would love for, a big old crew to tackle like the one on H Road there, that's in the woods with Pistol Pete.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna have, all my coworkers and maybe family members out.
What about Rogers?
I'd rather have it close to the road, because I don't know. 'Cause I
Rogers
was,
is actually pretty close to the road.
yeah, but it's,
You know, I mean, you got a lot of dirt road to get to Rogers.
Yeah.
But,
I was,
it's a little bit more accessible, I think, as far as, once you get down to Rogers and you park, you don't have very far to walk
yeah.
at all. I mean, as far as going through the woods, whereas the one down behind,
Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
Pistol Pete's place, that's all going through the
Gonna
woods.
watch this video and he's gonna laugh.
As you well know.
no offense meant.
I mean,
I was
but it's
thinking
still,
of the Goodwin and then Dame.
That might work too.
There's parking at both,
Yes.
and just, if we get people just to clean it up, as far as, raking and,
Yeah, because when you park at the good ones, you can always park, I believe, at Wild Willie's. I don't think.
yeah.
I don't think they're open at 9 AM.
Yeah. Plus, I know both of them there's a lot of cemeteries that need raking.
Because I went into Goodwin's, and it's, because it's so close to the side of the road, anybody who throws crap out of their windows
Yeah, it
ends up
looks
in
like it
there,
needs
so.
a
Yeah.
good
Yeah, some TLC there.
purging.
Yeah, pick out what you think is best that they can actually accomplish within those few hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Just let me know, that way we can record it and know, because unfortunately or fortunately, we have a town meeting that day.
yeah,
On that note, we still need to finish bracket. And I think we need to upright some stones.
Which bracket?
Um,
yeah, actually.
Nathan,
Nathan,
yeah, we haven't even tackled.
Sammy.
I thought Nathan brackets was bad, but Simeon's
Oh, his is bad. I
trash.
knew.
And that metal thing is a gate.
Yeah.
It looks like someone threw a metal gate in there.
No, I think you'll find it was subdivided at one point.
No, it's not even in the middle. It's like just
Maybe.
thrown where, you said there's some holes in the
Oh, yeah,
corner.
that might have been the reason it was thrown there.
But yeah, that looks
Yeah.
terrible. And again, because they are so close to the road, even though they're up high, there's, empty soda bottles
Oh, yeah.
and trash
Anything
up
close to the
there.
road.
And then again, that could be from the people who were cleaning out the sides.
Anything's possible. 'Cause I know
But no,
that
haven't tackled that yet, but bracket is almost done.
Heads up, just be careful up there, because that was the one I fell off of for several years ago.
Well, yes,
Landed face down on the tar,
we'll try not to be so
so
agile.
I had a black eye for weeks. Because I forgot, they took out the steps, so when I went to back up, the steps were no longer there.
Oh, there were steps
at one
out the
time.
front?
Yep, and that was all she wrote. I know the selectmen saw me afterwards and wanted to know who won the battle and what happened.
Well,
How was the other guy?
Milton Mills Road, Milton Mills Road.
Yeah, the other guy was just fine.
But anyway, uprighting the stones, we need some gravel. On
can
some
still
of them, they need
you
to
can
be
still
repositioned, the
I
ones
don't-
that aren't on their face.
What about what I had, what you took from Maple Grove, Steve? Is it not enough, not good enough? I know it is gravel.
that was just regular kind of dirt. We can still get gravel and stuff or whatever they have down at the pit. But actually, that's a question. So Maple Grove is now blocked off. So how does one get into there?
It's not blocked up.
It's not?
Well, when you
The
say
gate-
blocked off,
Oh, yeah, there's a gate.
The
There's a
gates
gate.
were up, the gates have been taken down this week.
Okay.
They're in the.
but you can drive through there. I mean, you just take the
Um,
chain and,
We had chains and gates down there
right.
to stop vandalism.
And it didn't work.
No.
I mean, there is a pile of displaced gravel in
That's part of
Nathan
what-
Brackett Cemetery, but I don't know if that's good enough to hold up
That's
the
what I'm.
the skinny stones.
Yeah, the footstones, yeah, we can just use a little bit of stuff and just pound that, tamp them in. So, oh, yeah, I haven't been there since last fall, so,
Everything's the same, the only thing that your guideline
yeah, it's,
collapsed from the snow.
yeah. Actually, I think it was gone before last fall was over.
Problem is the wind, like, the wind whips through there.
It's always windy up there. It's right on the top of that ridge.
New purchases, I already talked about that at the new flag holders. And then, so yeah, you missed it, if we're gonna spend any money, if there's anything you need to have in June that you can't, that you need to buy, you need to get it like before June
ASAP.
1st. So,
Our meeting for Maple Grove Cemetery Association will be, June 9th, 9 o'clock.
Which of the two of us were assigned to look for a chainsaw?
it wasn't me. Yeah, because I don't,
Roland? Okay, I thought somebody was.
What's that?
And it'll be,
chainsaw,
it'll be at the, Old South Baptist Church. Old Acton South Baptist Church.
vandalism.
Oh, that's
Seen
a
a
fun
bunch, I've seen a
job.
bunch of articles that, real recently, about all this sort of stuff, not just far away. So, yeah, you'd let us all know about the one in Lebanon. Shapley had some vandalism at Highland Grove Cemetery a couple of years back.
We've been trying to avoid it as much as possible at Maple Grove, but sometimes it's a diamond, sometimes it isn't. We had one year that somebody did get carried away, and the person's still out and about at this point, but we made the police officers aware of it, so hopefully during the off times, they're keeping better eyes on it. But it doesn't always happen during off times. The problem is that there's not enough, we share an officer, there's not enough time for him to be in both towns at once. Good or bad, it's just the way it is. So when you call, he or she, whoever shows, isn't always right there when they call. You gotta wait. I've actually had to turn around and I've called them down 3 times for 3 different things, and actually had to wait for them. I tell them I meet them somewhere. You know, unfortunately, the respect for cemeteries is done and over or gone.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why. I don't understand why. I don't get it.
Because it doesn't affect people's lives.
Not now, no.
If you guys do come across anything, I mean, it's sometimes hard to tell if that stone was standing, not too long ago or not. But if you do see something that's questionable, or blatantly vandalism, let us know, because it just needs to be.
Yeah, and it just needs to be reported. I mean, we had somebody actually several years ago, probably close to 15 now, hit the Goodwin Cemetery and actually went through the stone wall.
Holy cow.
And we had to have him do a couple of stones over there, but this was probably close to 15, 20 years ago. Just tossing around and got carried away. Unfortunately, the new car he used wasn't so new afterwards.
There's a cemetery out on the road on Back Road in Shapley.
Yep.
And two winters ago, someone went through the nice iron fence.
We just fixed it and now it's broken
Yeah,
again.
it got broke again. I don't know if that was the plows pushing snow or if it was another accident or whatever.
I
but-
think it was the plow this time, I
Oh.
think. But I noticed it too.
Yeah, I think it might have been the snow load just
Yeah, that's
pushed it.
one of the Hams graveyards.
Yeah, I think one of them has a guy that was killed in Civil War, so, or at least a memorial stone for him. Next item here is the Keefe inquiry. So Lois, some guy named Chester Keefe got a hold of Lois.
Actually, it started at Town Hall. Town Hall actually gave Mr. Keefe my number from here. And actually from there, he called me wanting to know where his cemetery was, and I said, at the time, I said, do you have any idea, blah, blah, blah. He says, nope, all I can tell you is that you're looking for a Chester Keefe and a couple, 3 others. So, all right, I said, can I hang up and get back to you? 'Cause I was on the way out the door. I called Steve or texted Steve and said, help! And by the time we helped, I think we both found what we were looking for.
Yep, so just up the road at the Bragg Sanborn, there's 4 Keefes there, from the early part of the 1900s. And I guess this guy, he lives out west or down Texas or something. His dad is hoping to be buried there. So Bragg Sanborn is a private cemetery, so there's some rules and regulations. There's, obviously, it's still people getting buried there now.
But I think I'm pretty sure if he owns a plot and he's paid for that plot, depending upon how big that plot is his.
So, yeah, so there's 4 stones, and I looked at it last week, and there's nobody around. So there's space for a full body or cremation, but
I
if some,
think all he has to do is go see one of the Braggs.
so,
I'm not sure which Bragg's in charge anymore because there's 3 or 4 to choose from, but I imagine when he's ready, we can find out if we have to.
So is it the cemetery owners, the property owners that need to get permission, or is it a family
It all
member who's
depends how
still
many
alive?
lots. In other words, like anything else, like I'll give Maple Grove because I know Maple Grove. You buy so much. In other words, he might have bought so much and has a deed for so much, and they might not have taken up the whole area. Or not only that, the state has got it now. You can bury, if he's going to be a cremation, you can bury him on top of his family if they're down far enough and you have enough dirt to cover. So I'm not really sure if he's going to be, I haven't talked to Mr. Kiefer again, if he's going to be cremated or full body. That'd make a big difference. And if he has a deed or an agreement somewhere, somebody did, in order to get these 3 people in there, somebody had to agree upon something. Whether they have just the 3 bodies or they had a lot. We sell lots anywhere between singles to 12 at a time. It all depends upon what that deed, that's why the deeds is so important. I tell people to keep them, register them, so later on in life, your family can find them and say, this is where X, Y, and Z is, and this is why. Some people still don't register them. I try to encourage them, you know, for a few extra bucks. It's a lot easier sometimes, because something like that does get lost.
Do you have any contact info for the Braggs, or?
No, they all live up the road, so it's not a big deal. I can stop at one, and one will probably tell me before it's over. Matter of fact, another, Mrs. Bragg lives up by Rollin. He could probably swing in sometime and say hi, and she'd probably give him,
Claire?
yeah,
Oh, my God.
she'd give you the
Yes.
history.
She probably can tell me everything about that. You know, she's sharp as a nail.
Yeah.
You know, as far as who actually owns the property, or who, you know, who is quote, quote, in charge of the Bragg, Sanborn. Yeah, it's Bragg Sanborn, and the other side is
Acting corner.
Acton Corner. It gets so confusing at times. It's hard to determine who probably, you know, has say in regard to who's going to be able to be buried here. I know one of the Bragg's daughters. The father and mother I know are in there.
Floyd and his wife, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, there were two sisters,
And Richard's in there too.
Yeah.
Yes.
but I can ask Claire, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
I like
she
talking
would-
to Claire anyway,
yeah.
you know. And she's always, every time I stop and see her, she's always, come in, let's have a coffee. So,
But she's very intelligent, for a lady her age, she's very intelligent. She could
91
work.
years old,
Yeah, she's right on her money.
so.
Yeah, so, yeah, get that
Yeah,
info
I'll-
for me, and
I'll
I'll
see if I can.
pass it on.
Yeah, because I was gonna call him back to find out what he was actually going to have. That would make a big difference, you know. Cremation is always easier if it's far away, but some people don't want that. They even have them shipped in. The problem is what we found is that it costs you money in your transports, and from state to state, it's expensive. For us, because we actually wanted, for instance, Maple Grove would ask Milton if we could use their vault, because we didn't have a vault. In order for me to transfer a body from Acton to Milton Mills, is $100 both ways, and $100 going in and $100 coming out, just for paperwork, because you gotta be responsible for that until it's done.
So if someone has an accident and the body goes somewhere,
Yeah, if it goes in the wrong place, we're all in trouble.
Speaking of Milton Mills, it has nothing to do with anything like here, but I saw that the old general store is gonna be
Ira Miller?
refurbished, or,
so I can wear my shirt again.
Yep, they are new owners of that, and their plan is to renovate the building, which I'm quite sure that, you know, they're gonna find a lot more than they are bargaining for.
Yeah, it's been
But,
closed for a while.
I think it's supposed to be open, they're planning for fall of 19.
I'm not sure, huh?
I think it was fall of 19. So, I mean, it's gonna take them a long time.
yeah.
I'm kinda happy. It'd be kinda nice to see it back to
Since
business.
they've lost the auction house.
Yeah.
Going back to flagging, the Wyman Cemetery up on Acton Ridge Road, like the last, almost second to last house before you get into New Hampshire. That's the one out in the field, beautiful old farmhouse.
Veteran,
Yep, so Allison Purvis, her husband's buried out there, and we didn't know there was a veteran buried there. So we had put a flag out, we didn't have a flag holder, he was a Vietnam vet, so we got the Vietnam vet holder, and I went out there, 2 weeks ago or something, knocked on the door, and she had just come home, and she was like, the flag that we put out there stayed up all winter. She's like, can you leave that one out? Because in the wintertime, she could see the cemetery and just see the little flag just up there, and she was like so happy. So I checked out, I said, yeah, I could do that for you. I checked it out, I put the new flag and holder out there, and the old flag is it's gray, and the holder, the stick is all bent, but I left it there, so. But next winter, this one's really gonna be high up, so she's all happy about that, so.
Well, that's nice, because she was, when we initially went there, you know, it's like, what do you want?
Yeah, she was a
You know,
little bit comprehensive.
She's not necessarily the most forthcoming individual that, you know, you might expect. You know, she kind of, but that's really good,
Yeah.
really good. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, Brett did a lot for us. He actually, Odyssey of the Minds was one of his biggest things when he was helping out the kids and stuff. He was one of the captains and stuff, and one of his teams actually went west years ago, which was, now we've got another team out there right now that's out
Competing.
west competing.
So
Good.
he's buried in a cemetery that was another
Another family.
family. Did they have to get permission?
That's a sticky wicket. Well, what I usually
Hard to
what I usually tell everybody, because this is because even John Moore, where he's buried, he wanted to be at the cemetery. The thing I see, people long ago owned it, they lived there, blah, 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 blah. Do they have descendants? More than likely. Should she have looked for a descendant? More than likely. If her descendant comes up and wants to be buried there too, he or she might have the right also. The other sticky wicket to this is that she owns the property that this cemetery is on. I've always said, try to work it out. Don't get to a battle of where the cemetery rules what you're gonna do, or death's gonna rule what you're gonna do. If there's room, I feel if there's room, why not?
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather see you go where you want to be and where it's going to be. You have some in town that don't agree. They feel it's a family cemetery and family only. So it really, really depends. I always call them co-owners because I have family out in other people's fields too. Do I want to be buried there? No, but I could have a relative down the road that might want to be. Is he or she that owns the property at that time going to give them a hard time and they're going to have to go to court over something to me that would not, it's not, I'm going to say the wrong word, I'm not politically correct, it's foolishness. You know, work it out so that if it's just a cremation in this room, let the person go. If it's a full body, find out if there's room. The problem is when they're old, they don't have vaults. So when you probe, we'll probably be going through them. So that's something to be aware of when you have to probe.
Depends upon how far down you have to probe as well,
Wow.
okay?
Normally, you don't have to go that far, depending upon
Yeah,
erosion.
they weren't exact back then.
No.
And
And think about
we know
how
with the
they have
weather,
to dig.
frost will bring things up and
Yeah.
bring things down, and
It all boils down to how they had to dig also. Was it a hand-dug grave? Did you go
Most
so many
graves
feet
are.
down? Or was it somewhere or another, something else was done? I don't know. I know we still do hand graves at Maple Grove.
Is there a machine that actually will dig a grave?
yeah, it's like a little bobcat with a
Little
very
bobcat.
skinny,
Yes, skinny backhoe
Yeah.
on it.
They do it.
just
we
about
have one
body
over-
size.
Every now and then, they asked if they can bring one in over at Maple Grove, and of course, they have to be Gentile going across the cemetery.
Mhm.
Some have bolts and some don't, but does that?
So that's not a law that you have to
Now
have.
it's a law.
It is a
But
law.
years ago, like behind the church and going out away from the church.
The older
some are,
part,
Yeah,
yeah.
some are and some ain't.
Yep.
So,
When you say vault, you're talking about
The
the-
cement liner,
the
Yeah.
cement liner that you put
Yeah.
the casket down in?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
some have and
That's why,
some don't.
that's why burials cost so much money, okay? We have so many rules and regulations. I mean, I understand wanting to take care of your loved one, okay? But good God, you know,
That's
people
why-
think, people think, well, I'm just gonna get cremated.
That's why a lot of them.
Guess
choose
what?
to.
Still gonna cost you.
It
You
depends.
still need to go through a funeral parlor to get cremated, as
No,
far
you-
as I know.
No, you don't.
Well, we're not going to your bonfires anytime soon then.
No, what you can actually do is call the crematorium, and a lot of times they make arrangements to pick them up. And they do the paperwork, because I have a neighbor that both times, the neighbors, you go put flags out, all they do is call the crematorium, and they went and done it. And then, there's a couple of other things that it's not, you kind of can skip the middle person if you know what you're doing. And theirs wasn't half as expensive, not even a quarter as expensive as some of the ones I've seen them actually put in over at the cemetery.
Because I know a cremation fee runs right around,
$1,000.
no,
Mine.
no, the crematory, you know, the burning, if you will, is right around $500.
Then they get to
What
transport it
what
back.
costs you
It's
is
paperwork.
going, you know,
From point A to point B.
my youngest son died. He was cremated. He had to be picked up from the damn hospital. He was taken to the crematorium. He was taken to the funeral parlor, funeral home. I'm old school, funeral parlor.
Yep.
Funeral parlor made $2,000. Okay, now they, you know, I don't have any problem with a business, you know, I mean, you know, businesses are in business to make money. But, you know, if all you want is a simple cremation and give me the ashes when you're done, you know, why do I need to pay you $2,000?
Yeah, take out a personal loan so that you can
Well,
do that.
So,
Several
Yeah.
years back, it was a couple in Lebanon, they actually died back to back, and their family was hard pressed, it was wintertime. They actually, somebody was storing them, a funeral place was storing them, charging them $1,000 a week. That's what I'm saying, sometimes, and I understand, you know, you die in debt, you're born in debt and die in debt. And they said, it's so unfortunate, because that's the wrong time, and people are signing papers during that time, which I find is really hard, because when you're not in your right mind, they don't let you sign papers. You're grieving, you're still not in your right mind, why are they allowing you to sign papers? That really disappoints me and makes me wonder.
people can get taken advantage of
Exactly.
at that time.
And that's what, that really bothers me.
Well, that's also, you know, where people need to, I know it's not something that people think about a great deal, but, you know, you need to plan, okay? You know, is it something you really want to think about, you know? Hey, one day I'm going to die. Oh, honey, if I'm dead, take me to the crematorium, turn the juice on, ashes, here's the box, all done.
Spread me in the garden.
You know, there should not be,
Such a shame.
you know, it's just wrong, you know, for it to cost so much money to bury somebody or to put somebody's ashes in the ground. You know, it's just wrong.
Because back several years ago, you weren't
But you
allowed
also
to
have
spread.
people that make no arrangements whatsoever. None. There's nothing as far as when I die, this is what I want done. Okay? And then, you know, you have people, you know, that are, well, what do we do with Uncle Fester? You know, there's no instructions. What do we do? You know, and it, you know, that makes it very, very hard on the families and whatnot. So, all right, I'm done talking about that stuff.
All right.
We digress.
I got an alibi on Allison real quick. When I showed up on her door the other day, I had the flag holder and the flag. She's like, she opened the door. She's like, she was all happy to see me. She's like, I want to apologize for last fall. She was having a bad day, and a bunch of strangers knocked on our door.
That's very,
So,
really, really nice.
yeah, we ended up talking for like an hour, so
Yeah.
it was better than her initial contact, so.
That's a
Good deal.
Hey,
Done?
She was having a bad day, it was only like 10 in the morning.
Everybody has bad days.
yeah, my bad day starts at 5:50
Yeah,
every
mine's
morning.
3:15 until whenever.
Ugh. All right,
Next meeting date.
yeah, so we had talked last time about maybe skipping a couple
It's
months
up to
into
you guys.
sometime.
Do you guys want to, the reason I say we can meet if you wish, it does not bother me. The only reason I say we can skip out is because everybody's busy in the summer. And we could plan to meet early fall, we could plan to meet in August, we could plan to meet again in September. Or we can still plan every month, it doesn't matter to me. It's just, we're pretty good about contacting each other.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, put it out to September. If something happens, everybody's available by email. We can get together for
Exactly, I mean, that's
emergency.
one of the things we're really good
Because
about
one
contacting.
of the things I want to do right now is I'm going to purchase some forging sand, because I don't know where to buy it locally anymore, so I'll go online and get some.
Yeah.
I want to make some very soon, pour some of the grave markers to see how they turn out, because if I can do that, that's gonna save us a ton of money,
Oh, yeah.
and we can do whatever we want, as long as we have one as a template, we can make more. We just gotta get donations of cans, aluminum, anything aluminum that we can take and
It
melt
says
down.
Pepsi on the back.
Is that what you want to do? You want to collect bottles or cans?
Yeah, stuff we can melt down,
I can
so we
actually
can do
help
that.
out with that. I've got some at home.
Yep.
So, yeah, so, some of the older, flag holders, like,
Some of the ones that are really rough.
yeah, I've fixed a bunch so we can recycle them. The Loctite and put a nut on there as well.
You might want to bring a nut and a Loctite for the veterans ones out front. I was here the other day and
Okay.
one of them flipped themselves off and was out.
Right.
last
Yeah.
year.
Oh, speaking of which, I had asked Jay if he could, because some of the old Civil War ones have, the stick in the ground has these little wings or whatever, you know, a little square or whatever.
Yes,
So it doesn't spin.
right.
Jay can
Work
maybe
something out.
work something out, so
That'd be
when we
great.
we'll do it with the aluminum posts, so they don't spin.
Yeah.
And that would be,
I can weld metal, I can weld regular metal. I'll find a way to take care of the aluminum so that it works, so.
or if we could, you know, maybe get, instead of aluminum posts, when we get steel or brass, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I wanna see everything, cause if there's things I can make and replace, it's as easy as taking some of the stuff and melting it as well and recasting it.
Because the other thing I was thinking, you don't have to do a full one. You can do like those three, like a tripod,
Yeah,
and it
See,
won't
yeah.
spin.
yeah.
It's things that you can play with. And
Yeah, the sky's the limit. If somebody's got an imagination, we can come up with something.
So do you want to do a meeting the 1st of September, or the middle of September, the end of September?
The next scheduled one is September 27th.
I mean, the last one on.
Yeah, the last,
I don't see why that wouldn't work. 27?
that way, I mean, you know, my kid's back in school.
That's what I'm thinking. Everybody's back in school. Everybody should be back on our routine. If we need to get together to clean something, or get together because we just needed to
Yep.
go over some stuff, we can, you know, it's just 5 of us. We're really good about email.
September
something-
what, 27th?
27.
27th, yeah.
If it, at 5 o'clock still, or?
Yep.
At this point?
Let's do that.
That way, we're not totally out of the loop, but that way we can give each other a break for an extra day somewhere where there isn't a meeting that we have to attend the minute we go out the door.
Works for me.
And it gives everybody their summer duties, as we all know.
As they haven't bought anything yet for the cemetery committee, do you guys have Michelle's email, Michelle Rumney?
What you can do, now, the only two that have buying power are you and I at this
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
So let's say
They
They-
need to get something, it needs to go
Through
through
you
you
two.
and I.
okay.
Yeah,
never
that's the way we did it with the batteries and stuff when
Yeah.
we came to you,
Yeah,
so.
they're better
So-
off to go through you, because
Yep.
they're gonna, not that you can't, but they wanna know, that they wanna make sure that the whole committee knows that somebody's getting what they're
That
getting.
makes sense,
Yep.
so.
If you, yeah, so if you
And
need
it-
something, just let me know,
And
let
at
us
this
know.
point, I've always let Steve do the buying, because
Mm-hmm.
he's out in the field more, he knows what they want, like some of the stuff last year, he knew exactly what he needed versus me trying to explain to Michelle what he needed, so I only use, even myself, I go through Steve. Once in a while, I don't think I've gone over, I told her if we do need another lawnmower this year, it's coming out of that 3,000.
And supposedly, we've been told that we have more money than we think we have.
That, which is that 3,000, and if we turn around and get what we want on the floor, we should have close to $6,000 this year.
Well, that's
But
good.
the only thing is, I made them clarify it, and it's on camera, that this is not the interest that comes out of those 6 cemeteries we're supposed to maintain. And she said, no. it's-
The money that she was talking about is not part of the monies which is held in the grant, you know, as far as, you know, this family, you know, gave a cemetery to the town, and gave them, $2,000 to maintain it.
Yeah, so
you know,
this is
et cetera, et
external
cetera.
money.
This is
Separate.
supposedly separate, and, it was like, oh, really? Okay.
Well, I kind of knew it was sitting in the back, but I didn't realize that I could use it only because I thought that was the amount that came out of the interest out of those 6 cemeteries. And that interest, by state law, only a third of it can be used for maintaining. In other words, for mowing and raking and stuff like that, or anything we have to use.
A third of the total or a third of just the interest?
Just the interest. You can only use interest anyway.
The rules and regulations in regard to the spending of monies are way archaic. I mean, when you're talking about somebody that, has, $1,000 account, is earning, maybe 1%.
That's why I'm wondering, a
You
third of the
know,
interest is what,
You can al-
75
You
cents?
can only use, I have, somebody else started one at $10. We had to wait several years before, we did the work, but we had to wait several years before we could actually collect the money off of it, obviously. They turned around at that point, the 6 that we had, they combined them all into one CD, or whatever, or one, so now that whole grouping earns one amount. They divide it amongst the 6, in other words, who got what at the time.
It's a CD, that's why they only let you use
But
interest.
you
If it was a
only
money
allow-
market, you could have used,
Even a money market, we have one at Maple Grove, it's only the interest. You cannot use the principal.
So,
So you gotta be and that's why I said, I told them 3 times, I'm not going to go to jail with you guys. And I wanna make sure it's what it's supposed to be.
so actually there's a little bit more money than what we thought we had. Not saying it's, a gold mine, but,
But
I mean,
I'm
if we do need to go out and buy another lawnmower, we obviously can.
Right.
And not have to worry about, well, we're gonna have to go back to the town because we need a little bit more money.
Well, the other thing is we gathered up that other one, which, a volunteer stepped forth to take care of the one that Three Rivers Land Trust should have.
It's on the
the
Hobbs
one on the
Farm.
farm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on the
Somebody
corner.
stepped up after the last selectmen's meeting and said that he would take care of it.
Who's that?
Him.
Is that on Blueberry Hill?
No, it's on Fox's Ridge.
It's on the Fox's Ridge, okay.
Yeah, and it has been determined,
Blueberry Hill.
definitely, it is on the farms, the Hobbs Farm property.
So it does belong to Three Rivers.
So it should belong to Three Rivers. However, Three Rivers is backing out of it. They feel that they, as an organization, didn't sign the agreement. They had one individual who was a Three Rivers member who volunteered to, take care of that bit of property, and has since either died or no longer is involved or doesn't wish to be involved.
And
And it's like, okay,
I laughed because they said there was more of us in town to take care of it than them, and I'm like, no, there's more Three Rivers members to take care of it than actually.
Three Rivers is not interested in conservation as far as cemeteries are concerned.
No.
And that's all we need to say about that.
So anyway, I found a volunteer, for now, he said he would go up there and deal with that at this point. I'm glad he stepped forward. It's not that we wouldn't have done it, and that's kind of what I explained to the selectmen, it's the idea that this is a prudent company that should be stepping up to the plate all on their own. They shouldn't be passing the buck just because they wanted the property, they shouldn't be passing the buck off to the next person. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. That's personal and professionally, I don't know. Like I told you guys, I don't speak correctly all the time, so.
I'm always politically correct.
So we want to go through September 27th at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
I'll go out and let them know, so they can plan on it. These
Well,
guys can
you
be
have
on
plenty of
vacation.
time to
And
let
if
Jennifer
we
know.
need to, we can get together sometime if we need to, or talk with each other, make sure we're on the same
Yep.
plate environment.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
6:05, we're out of here.